Welcome back to part 2 of our new look at the digital distribution module or enhancement of InOrder version 9.2. This is Tony Marchese from Morse Data Corporation. I'm here with Matt Grant.
Hi.
And we are talking today about purchasing downloadable music with InOrder, and we're looking at our default shopping cart that comes with InOrder's e-shopping module. And today we're going to look at purchasing some digital music over the internet, and this will work on any device like an iPad or an iPhone or a Kindle or a phone.
Yeah. Android, iPhone, Windows Phone.
And what do? We go to this website.
So we're at our website. We have an MP3s hierarchy. We go there. We see we have a number of different albums available. For a standard album, where it's just an album with 10 or 12 songs, you see on the details page we have just a preview of the files that come with this download. So when we purchase this album and we check out,
you're already a registered user, so you could do a checkout with a saved credit card.
Right, and I have my saved credit card that is automatically applied, so we skip right to the summary page. We place the order.
You could also do a guest checkout, right, if you wanted to.
So we start downloading. Now when we're downloading a multi-file download, it will deliver a zip to us, and then we have our zip file with a README that gives us a list of what's in there and the MP3 songs, and it'll start playing them. Now when we get into multi-part albums, so like just a longer album, a 2-part album, or even a 4-part album, InOrder, when you're defining your downloads, will create one separate download for each digital asset that you define. So if we take a look at this next album, this is a 2-part album with 10 or 12 songs on each disc, even though it's an MP3. And we'll end up getting 2 different downloads, for one download for disc 1, one download for disc 2.
So 2 folders.
Right.
Now, do all these files need to be stored on different folders on the web server?
These files can be stored on any server that's accessible from the web server, or they can be imported directly into the InOrder database. So in our case here, these have been imported directly into the database, so they can be accessed from the web server, from the SQL server, from client PCs, etc.
Well, let's download these 2.
All right, so we see we have 2 different downloads listed here, one for disk 1, one for disk 2. Click on download, and this will download just like our first full album did.
And you can set back on the inventory item when you define it when they get to download, if it's right away or if it's after they pay, or if there's a delay.
Yep, there is a setting. We pull this up. So this was. We can set what it's when the order is ended, printed, posted, or when the shipment is posted. If we can require a prepayment.
Oh, as opposed to an open account, like for a business buying things.
Right, so your wholesale customers don't download it without paying for it first. Display details on the web will control whether that preview shows up to list the files ahead of time or not. And display in web order history will determine if you see it on the My Orders page in InOrder.
Oh, to be able to download again.
Right, exactly. And then for the files themselves, you'll see we have 2 different digital assets defined here. one for the first disc, quote unquote, and one for the second disc.
That's neat. Let's go back to that first order that we placed. What happens if I deleted those files and I need to get another copy? How do I go back and do that download again?
You can go back to the...
We're logged into the My Orders already for our web account as a web customer, right?
So you can go back to the, pull up that individual order that you placed, and you can download the file again. Now you see here, this download is no longer available because it's already been downloaded. That's because of our maximum download setting on our inventory item. So it only allows it to be downloaded once.
Okay.
This order could be pulled up by a CSR and order lookup. And
A customer service rep?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
To allow this album to be downloaded again if there was a download issue or if I lost the files, and then it's at the CSR's discretion.
Okay, so let's pretend you're the customer and you're calling me up. What would I do to reset the order back in customer service?
So we will take our invoice number.
What's your invoice number, sir? 194015, you say. Yep, okay. We don't have to act it all out. And then I put that in and pull up the order.
We'll go to the digital settings tab, and then we can increase the maximum number of downloads, we can clear the download log, we can regenerate.
Oh, okay,
all
so
this
sort
is-
of like saying reset this purchase as if it was starting over again.
Correct.
And then I assume that would audit that, the fact that you did that, or
Yep.
the fact that the customer service rep did that, so that we know what's happening
Yep.
in the audit trail.
So here we can see we can download it again now.
And the device that you're buying on, how would the screen look? I guess that just depends on how your website is programmed, right? You know, to
And
have their different size screen.
on the, yes, and the device itself and what
That's
it's
called the
capable
look and
of.
feel programming, where we set it up based on who the customers are and how they're buying.
Right.
Okay, what other types of grouping do we have there? Is there a third type?
So if we saw if there's a single album or a 2-disc album. We also have, in this case, a 4-disc album, which the setup is very similar to the 2-disc album. In this case, we'll end up getting 4 downloads.
But if you wanted to, you could have it be one download. It's just then there'd be 4 times as many files in the directory.
Exactly, and the download file itself would be 4 times as large. So by grouping them as while you're setting up the digital asset, you are maintaining control over the bandwidth essentially that's being used by your website to partition the downloads into smaller parts, or to allow one large download. with
And if you
everything.
set up a digital asset once, then you could still sell it as part of different products, I understand.
Yes, the digital assets can be reused as many times as you want to. So if this Ghost One asset was set up one time, we could sell it in any number of different products.
And even those individual songs in the album could be stored once in the database but sold under different albums.
Yes, and
Without
linked to
s-
different assets, which can be linked to different inventory items.
If you wanted to do that.
Yes.
You probably would still have different copies of it either way, but that's fine. And for all of these different sales, it's still one file in the database. But I understand that's called static digital distribution. We can also do dynamic digital distribution.
Correct. Something like an MP3 where the same file is distributed to every customer that buys it. If it's sold one time or 1,000,000 times, you only have the file one time in the database because it's the same every time. Something where the file is different every time it's downloaded, for example, a digital gift certificate, would be an example of a dynamic digital item.
Okay, let's purchase a digital gift certificate.
So we have a downloadable one here with using the personalization enhancement. So I will send Tony a gift certificate.
Thanks, Matt.
It's only $5 though.
Okay, so you're not emailing it to me. You chose the product that lets you download it, and then you can email it to me personally. But
Right, or I could print it out and put it in a birthday card or whatever.
I see.
So in this case, you see our download isn't available yet. This item is defined as a dynamic item as opposed to a static item. So
So that means the computer is still putting it together for us.
Exactly. So by selecting dynamic instead of static here, there is an API for processing dynamic files. So it's in the digital delivery enhancement documentation. There are a number of API routines that list what files need to be processed and then support updates to say that the file is processed, this is where the file is located, and optionally import that digital content into the database.
So the person or the company using the digital distribution enhancement of InOrder can build their own interface, or they can have Morse Data build them an interface to their software for preparing these files, or this could be used for DRM, right?
Exactly.
For digital rights management, if you wanted to.
Exactly, and different DRM systems work different ways. For example, there are 3 major DRM systems out there: the Amazon for Kindle, Fairplay for Apple, and then Adobe Content Server for Adobe PDFs or EPUB files or various other file types.
If you need to do DRM with your software, then you can use those APIs to set up those files. So does that make a custom copy of the file?
Yes, each line item for that will then create a dynamic custom version of that file to be distributed for that line item.
And it'll store it in the file with the order?
It'll either store it in the database if you opt to have it imported into the database, or it can be stored on a network share or on the web server directly.
Is that how Content Manager from Adobe works?
Content Manager from Adobe, Content Server, will, it actually functions as a static file that is downloaded to the customer's device, and then using Adobe software installed on the customer's device will download a DRM copy from Adobe Content Server.
Okay. So when do I get my gift certificate?
So if we go back to our website now and refresh our page, our download is ready. Now we would have also in that meantime received an email notification with a link to download this product.
That's how we would have known.
Yes.
We didn't check our email here in the video though. Okay. And that was a pretty simple gift certificate, but it has a serial number with a double check digit on it and so forth. That's great. Thanks for the gift certificate, Matt.
No problem.
And this concludes video number 2 on digital distribution enhancement of InOrder from Morse Data Corporation. In our next video in the series, we're going to explore the email capabilities of digital distribution for purchasing products over email. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.